Welcome to What You Need to Grow, the podcast where entrepreneurs discover the inspiration and perspective shifts that fuel both personal and business growth. Each week, certified professional coach Jennie Bellinger brings you powerful conversations with thought leaders, subject matter experts, and innovative company leaders who share their stories of growth and the tools that made it possible. From fresh insights that expand your vision to resources you can explore on your own journey, every episode is designed to help you grow your knowledge, grow your vision, and grow your business. Now, here's your host, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome to another episode of What You Need to Grow. I am your host, Jennie Bellinger, and I am so excited for today's episode because growth seekers, I want you to buckle up. Our guest today is Mark Porter, the powerhouse behind Gateway Digital Media Group, who's turning local businesses into digital dominators in the St. Louis and Metro East area. He's the guy that you call when you're done being invisible on the web and ready to show up loud, proud, and in front of your perfect audience. With Mark's arsenal of indoor digital billboards, pay-per-clicks, geofencing, and full-blown digital marketing tactics, your brand is about to get seen, heard, tapped, and clicked. So if you've been playing small, Mark's here today to drag you into the spotlight. Let's rock this. Hey, Mark, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jennie. I thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. It's my first podcast ever.
Yes, I love it. I'm so excited. No, that's a good thing because this means that this is just the beginning of your 15 minutes of fame that's going to be longer than 15 minutes because you're a great digital marketer. So I know because you and I met through BNI, and I know any of our listeners who have been listening for any amount of time are probably not going to be shocked because this is not the first time I brought it up. I've already interviewed Ivan Meisner on the show. So I know a little bit about your history, but can you let us know how you got into digital marketing? Because I know you haven't always been a digital marketer.
Well, so and my history doesn't sound anything like what you would expect from a advertising and marketing executive. My career actually goes back to the 90s, and you know I'm a dual degreed engineer, if you can believe that, right?
Okay.
I served in the Navy on submarines as a nuclear engineer for 10 years. I
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Very proud of that. I think it did a great job of preparing me for a 25-year career in food manufacturing. And I rose through the ranks in management to eventually sit in the C-suite, running pretty good sized companies, brand names that we all know: Jimmy Dean, Smithfield, Ballpark Hot Dogs. Okay.
Wow.
And so those big brands, when you're in one of those senior leadership roles, yes, it's about the product. Yes, it's about the packaging, but it's also about sales and marketing. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the beginning, right? That was the exposure as I, took on different roles and so forth. Pandemic hit, and food manufacturing got bloody brutal. I mean, it was already rough in corporate America, especially with that size of company and the jobs I was in. And so as I got through the pandemic, I stayed, with food manufacturing through all of that. The last company I worked for, during the pandemic, I improved their profitability 58%, $250 million top line, and drove their profit up 58% in about a year. And
wow, that's impressive.
And that was a combination of all of it, right? So operations, logistics, warehousing, and improving customer service and marketing, right? Improving the advertising, the marketing, the reach out to improve the demand for the product. But anyway, and so I get to the end of that and get through the pandemic, and I'm like, I want to change gears as I head for retirement. I figure I'm probably 5, maybe 8 years away from retirement now, and so this is 2-3 years ago. And I'm like, okay, I'm through with this corporate life. Let's do something. And plus, right, building, so that profit, right? It was kind of in my face, right? So I drew a base salary with a decent bonus, okay, but I didn't participate in that kind of profit increase. I want to. So
Yeah.
so that's hang out, I was figuring out, okay, what am I going to do to hang out my own shingle? And so the long story told very short, I came up with Gateway Digital Media Group with some friends, family input, and we launched, right. And I've been working to put together different back offices, put together an arsenal. You said it in the intro. I love that intro. Put together an arsenal of tools, because marketing is not one product. It is not a one size fits all and that's what I see and hear from other clients is, well, this guy told me that was the package, that was the deal. It's a great
Hmm.
website, or it's a strong social media play, or it's no, it didn't work that way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, and that's marketing is a journey. Marketing is an evolutionary, ever change, and digital marketing. On top of that, it's the wild, wild west out here.
Yeah, it is. Oh, for sure. I mean, when I started in business in 2010 was my first, when I opened my first business, my network marketing business. If Facebook was a thing, I think Instagram was starting to be a thing, but I didn't understand marketing. I was just getting into sales initially, like I need to figure out the sales thing first before I even start doing these other things. So, I mean, things have changed so much in the 15 years since I started in business. And because, yeah, nobody marketed on Facebook back in 2010, 2011. And so I was one of the few who got things started and started doing things online. And that's part of how I grew my network marketing team, part of how I grew my network marketing business, because people were watching what I was doing and they're like, how are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just talking to people because that's who buys my stuff, or people. So I talk to people. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I was just throwing not just spaghetti at the wall, but like all the pastas. I had farfalle, elbow macaroni. I was throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, and I think that's how a lot of people feel about marketing. So now that you've been doing this for a few years, how has your perspective on this changed, and how do you um, use that knowledge now to work with your clients?
Um, I think, and especially working with small business owners, as compared to the the large corporate entities. Those large corporate entities, they get all the resources in the world. They stand up their own department, and they hire in the experts to do it. Well, so that's my goal, is to be that local small business resource, that expert, because so I like to compare yellow pages. So we all understood the yellow pages. We knew, okay, so we'd all be named double A, triple A, quadruple A digital media group.
Yep.
So that we'd be first on our yellow page, category. We'd decide if we were going to take out an ad or not, to have a corner, and we'd pay once a year, and we're done, right? And it's printed and we're done. Well, that's not how it works today, right? The Google algorithm, the Meta algorithms, and those evolve and change, and right, the competition landscape changes, which affects
Yeah.
those results. So that's what I've done, is to use what I learned, working with, I'm sorry, Jimmy Dean is going to show up at the top of the search results if you type in sausage.
Yep.
Okay, well, I want, uh, that small chiropractor who hired me for SEO, and he says, hey, these are the services that I want to be found for. Here's the where I want to be found, and that's my job, is to take over and manage his digital footprint, his profile, his website, and all of the things that feed that footprint, so that when somebody says, I want to types in the keyword in an area where he wants to be found, then he shows up. He's number one. Because that's the thing about the click rates on that search result. 40% of those clicks happen on the number one position. And then it drops to 20% for the number two position. And then half again to 10% for the number three position.
Okay.
40, 20, 10. If you want to win in the game, you got to intentionally and systematically move yourself into one of the, at least those top three, and ideally in that number one spot.
Yeah.
And
No,
so
that
that's what you do. That's what I do.
and it does, and I'm sure you may or may not know the answer to this question. I don't know. Does Google seemingly change their algorithm as much as Facebook seems to?
Yes, the algorithm evolves. And I at first when I got into this, I would say, hey, we stay ahead of Google. I don't say that anymore. We're not ahead. We stay current with Google. So as Google's algorithm changes, we see those changes, we and then we act, right? We're doing national level research on keywords, on the algorithm, and we use that to shape and reshape all of our clients' uh, campaigns, marketing campaigns, whether it's Meta, whether it's Google, whether it's, and those are the two big platforms. I mean, the Meta has, I think the last number I read was like over 4 billion active users every day.
Yeah, that
Google,
tracks.
yeah, Google is responsible for 93% of the 99,000 searches every second worldwide. Hundreds
99,000 searches every second.
hundreds of trillions every year, and that's total searches across all of the search engines. And Google has 93% market share.
Yeah.
It's a staggering number, and that's why my focus is on Meta and Google, not other platforms, because I go where the numbers are. Right? It's
Right.
I could easily drive you to be the number one, search result on the Russian search engine that's only located in Russia. Well, that's only 2% of the market share.
And someone better be able to speak Russian.
Yeah, and that's the number three. That's the number three search engine. Bing is the second one, and they have less than 5%. They're about a 4% market share.
Wow.
Microsoft. That's the comparison. Microsoft to Google, 93 to 4.
That's massive. So yeah, it makes sense that what we hear a lot about then are the Google SEO, the Google My Business, or Google Business Profile, I think is now the official terminology for it, because again, they've they've evolved over time, right?
That's right. They've evolved and changed all of that up. They've become more aggressive with Google selling Google ads.
Okay.
Google has.
Right.
Uh, that's something that we would, it at a certain point makes sense to use that to boost it's equivalent of Meta ads and boosting inside, a Facebook page.
Sure.
And we do all of that, right? To shape and I come in to understand the business and want to learn the business to then shape the marketing to, I don't try to get the business to come meet me where I'm at in terms of marketing. I go to them and then connect the marketing to help them achieve their goals and their outcomes. That's the idea.
I love it. I love it. Now, taking it from this like international global level of the internet all the way down to something more local, because that is your goal, is to work locally with people in the St. Louis area. One of the coolest things that I've ever heard about, and I don't know how many other people know about it, and especially for anybody who's listening who has a brick and mortar business, I think geofencing is pretty freaking cool from what I've heard about it. Like, and it's for me who really enjoys the psychology behind marketing and all of that. I love how it works and the technology behind it. So can you explain geofencing for people? Because I brought it up in your intro as something that you do, and it's so cool.
It is cool. It is I've been told that sometimes having a one-to-one with me can get a little creepy. And my view of that is the creepier the better, because the creepier the bigger the ROI.
Yeah.
So geofencing, and so the geo aspect. So the evolution of display ads is what we're talking about. And a display ad, it pops up on a browser, pops up on a website, pops up, you know, and it can be a vertical banner on the left or right. It can be across the top, or an embedded panel in the middle. The geo aspect of that is you draw a line around, and it can be as small as a parking lot or a building. It can be a zip code. It can be a city, a state.
Right.
Right. Um, and it started off years ago. That was the limit of you cross the geofence, and then the ad is fed to your mobile device, your phone.
Okay.
Today, that is the label geofence adds in demographic qualification. So you and I could both walk into the same across the same geofenced line, and if the ad is targeting women, it'll pop on your phone and not mine.
Oh, wow.
We can target on household median income. We can target on whether you're married, single, divorced, widowed. We can target on parents versus grandparents. We can target on your digital search history. So
Oh, wow.
if you searched for a chiropractor near
Uh-huh.
me, and you cross a geofence that we've established, and there are some regulations that come in. I mentioned chiropractor for a reason, but if you cross the geofence and you search for a chiropractor, that display ad for another chiropractor can pop on your phone. And if I haven't searched, and that's a qualification, that's a demographic qualification that I've designed into the strategy, it won't pop on mine.
Oh, okay.
Um, and now there are restrictions. There are, rules and regulations. I can't target a doctor's office because that's a privacy violation. I So what do? I target the parking lot right outside the doctor's office,
Right.
or the
Right.
or the hospital's parking lot, or like that.
Right.
And that's something that I want to make sure that folks understand while I talk about creepy. There are rules and regulations to properly doing advertising and marketing, and I've run into a few. As a matter of fact, I had a current client, come to me a while back, and his agency was doing some, I don't even know what, bad things, and they had gotten him. He's a GC, he's a general contractor.
Okay.
Got him in trouble.
Mm.
So he hired me to clean up the mess, and that's exactly what we did. He's back up to dominating his search results, and websites, back online and running, and Google sees him and presents him, because that's what Google hit him hard. He wasn't showing up in any search results at all.
Ooh.
Which,
Ouch.
yeah, and he knew it was bad. So, and he
Yeah.
needed, but he didn't know how to fix it.
And I think that's true for a lot of people. I mean, there's just so much out there because I'm aware of a lot of the marketing strategies and technologies and things that are available, but do I know how to do most of them? No. Like I'm like I'm aware that some of these things exist. So I'm able, but you're the first person I ever met who does like the indoor digital billboards, which I also think is a really neat way to help grow a community's awareness of what's going on around them. There's some pretty cool things out there. So can you describe indoor digital billboards and what those are and how they help?
So, an indoor billboard is essentially a large format TV,
Hmm.
installed in high traffic, uh, strong dwell time locations, restaurants, bars, uh, gyms, fitness centers, chiropractor's office, dentist's office, waiting room, and but all it does is run ads, and it with so the if I compare and contrast that with the traditional highway billboard, right?
Right.
So you can't legally put a QR code on a highway billboard, hands-free
Nope.
laws.
Yep.
The retention rate on a highway billboard, right, is very low because you're driving past it at 55 miles an hour. You're trying to remember the website, trying to remember the phone number, trying to remember the name of the company, right?
Yeah.
The attention span of the average adult today is 8.2 seconds.
Okay.
8.2, okay, pretty
That
small.
sounds right.
So you drive past that highway billboard, 8 seconds later, your retention's already pretty low, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the indoor billboard, I can put QR codes, I can put motion. The the human eye is drawn to motion. And
Yep.
so every one of my ads on those billboards has, and not necessarily full video, I'm capable of full video, but
Sure.
and you can get a little bit of that with some of the new digital, highway billboards, but still there's a limit to what you can incorporate on a highway billboard. So the comparison is pretty remarkable as far as the outcome and the result. Those QR codes, I can make you land on a website. I can make you go to a forum and submit your contact info. I mean, all of that comes into play on an indoor billboard. And so, and the fact that I'm getting brand exposures for that business, the way that people live their lives, right? I walked in and dropped off my car at the, I sat there for an oil change,
Yeah.
right? I started my day. Oh, look, there's a billboard. I saw an ad. I go have lunch with my wife in a bar across the street. Different billboard, but same ad. I worked out in the afternoon at the gym. Hey, same ad. Well, that's 3 brand exposures. And of course, marketing. We've gone past the rule of 7. We're rule of, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 now.
Yeah. I think I've heard we're up between 12 and 15. Yeah.
Yeah, and I even read an article here recently that we're on our way to a rule of 20. I don't think we're there yet, but anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to intentionally expose your clients. If you expect them to make a purchasing decision, you have to expose them to your brand, and it's got to be simple, digestible messages. And
Yep.
back to the indoor billboard, that the design around that advertising, we handle all of that for the client to shape the message, take a lot of input from them. But at the end of the day, I take that very seriously, that my job is to shape a message that's going to resonate with your clients, with your customers, and
Yeah.
influence them to the goal with the billboard is not to necessarily make a purchasing decision. It's brand awareness. I just want to make sure that I'm getting those repetitions, so that you go check out the website, you go check out the Facebook page as a
Right.
customer, and that, right, I drive web clicks, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
I want them clicking on your website to learn more, to check you out, and then buy
Yeah.
that new set of tires.
Right. Exactly. Depending on the business, obviously. Right. And, I think it's one of the biggest things I learned from my referral marketing coach, who you also happen to know, Virginia Muskies, who also has been on the show as well. One of the biggest things I learned from her was, when it comes to referral marketing, you've got to, and I know this to be true of pretty much all marketing, you've got to speak to the customer in their own language. You can't be speaking to them in your jargon for your business. And I always love getting to see really great marketing campaigns that really speak to the customer from their own perspective. And it sounds like that's a lot of what you're doing as well. Because I happen to be in my chiropractor's office, who has an indoor digital billboard, and I saw some of the marketing that you had done for him within his own thing, which is, his thing is about TMJ, which I also happen to be a TMJ person. So that's the reason I went to go see him, is because as soon as I heard that, I was like, I need this fixed. So he's been making it better for about 4 years now. Yay. I don't wake up not able to talk anymore, which, as a podcaster, that's a problem. you
Yeah,
know?
that's a
Yeah.
big problem. Yeah, no, and I agree with you. And I'm not trying to perfectly educate, and I'll use your example there. I'm not
Sure.
trying to perfectly educate a potential patient for that chiropractor. I'm trying to elevate the awareness,
Mm-hmm.
5 to 7 words, and 5 to 7 simple words, so that I reach the broadest audience to educate them on, hey, here, if you suffer
Yeah.
from this condition or these conditions, here's a resource. Here's a guy to go check out. Here's a chiropractor that you
Yeah.
you you should
Yeah.
reach. And that applies universally, right? From a marketing standpoint, simple messages are much more effective. And that's, believe it or not, that's hard to do.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the number of people who sit there, businesses who will sit there during, for example, a one-to-one or at a networking meeting or a networking event and verbally vomit on you for like 10 minutes about what they do, and you checked out 9.5 minutes ago because our attention span is 8.2 seconds, you know. And networkers, I think, can go a little bit longer than 8.2 seconds, but still, I find that most people around 30 seconds, they've checked out. They can only hear so much. So to be able to distill down what somebody does in 5 to 7 words, to take it back to the example, because I want people to understand what this is, because especially because the listener, the audience for this show is anyone from startups all the way through scaling. So the people who are in startup mode are like, wait, like, what do you mean five? Like, how do I do this? So for example, for the TMJ, what stood out to me, and I still remember this, like, I don't know, not quite 24 hours later, it's 16 hours later, is your jaw popping more than gum? Or something like that. Like, I don't remember the exact words, but that's the concept, right? And because anybody with TMJ knows the popping, our jaws pop all the time. It just happened right now. Like, I'm so used to it. It happens while I'm in the middle of talking. And that was oh yeah, that's a thing, right? For people. So the simplicity of marketing there is, yes, it is, I think, more difficult than most people probably think. So now I'm going to transition us again, because one of the things that has come out recently, and you and I have talked about this a lot since we got to know each other, has been the Go High Level, the all-in-one platform that is available now. And one thing I shared with you very early on was, for I think almost a year, I had a bunch of other coaches, authors, and speakers telling me, "Oh my gosh, you've got to get on Go High Level." And I was like, "Why? Why? I live with a tech guy. Why? Why should I be on this? He does all the things that you're talking about for me, and I don't have to pay for it. So why should I do this?" Right? And it really came down to, once finally somebody was able to explain to me. So can you explain to people what Go High Level is and why this is such a great thing for small businesses, whether from startup all the way through scaling?
So, so Go High Level, I think of Go High Level as fundamentally a CRM, a customer relationship management software.
Okay.
That's core. Now, in addition to being a CRM software, it'll build websites.
Mhm.
It has, and they're templated to make it fast and easy for a small business, and affordably, right? To
Yeah.
get in, build a website. Um, the it's also an email and text marketing tool. It will manage your social media accounts. And what I mean by manage your social media accounts, you integrate all of them in, and now inside one software you can, and with AI's help that's embedded in the software, shape your posts, schedule your posts. So Go High Level, in my mind, replaces, or can replace, things like Constant Contact and MailChimp. It can replace Kudosity and Twilio. It can replace, Active Campaign, which is a social media platform. It can replace and do it in a very customizable way, right? That's one of the powers, in my opinion, of Go High Level is the flexibility that's in it, that you can shape it to fit your business. And because there are so many of them out there, a lot of CRMs out there, hey, this CRM is great for home service contractors. Well,
Right.
it's a take it or leave it approach, right? You get what that CRM has, and you have to shape your business to fit it, not the other way around. So that's one of the reasons that I elected, and I'm less than a year, coming up on a year with as an agency with that as an offering, um, because I had clients that were, hey, I need help with my email marketing. Hey, I need help with text marketing. Hey, I need help with, and they needed help. They thought they needed help with one thing, and then as we spent time and worked together, realized, hey, I need help with a lot more than just,
Yeah.
And the regulations on that are becoming more complex. So having an agency that can offer advice and steer and guide, matter of fact, just this week, and it took a little bit of time to figure out why why she was getting rejected for her text marketing campaign, and okay, chip away, getting the answers, each step. And it took a little bit of time, but we finally got that approved for her. And she started text marketing this week. And
Oh,
boy,
wow.
she was she was like, oh, we just went crazy and we started texting today. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So that just warmed my heart, right, to hear how much fun they had. You know, text marketing isn't something I think of as fun, but she had fun doing it. So
Right. Well, and what I think is great about that is the fact that at least the most recent statistic that I've heard is something like 95% of text messages are read within 5 minutes or less. So you get a much faster response than from like email or anything like that. So there's so many like the almost instant response I could see being very rewarding as the business owner or the marketing person in charge of that business, being able to get that response. So, yeah, but I want to. We have so much to talk about, and we only have so much time.
yeah.
So with this podcast being about the intersection of business growth and personal growth and vice versa, right? We've been talking a lot about how marketing fits into business growth. Um, let's get into the personal growth side. What are some of the things that you've done over time that have helped you in your own personal growth that have been impactful along your journey, not just as an entrepreneur now, but at any point in your uh, business career?
um, well, I've had some great mentors. I think about Captain Francis and Captain Schaefer back in the Navy. They were both um, awesome leaders. Uh, the I don't think of him as a mentor, but I enjoyed the few conversations I had with him. Admiral Crowe, he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff back when I was at the Pentagon,
Okay.
and that was pretty awe inspiring, and I and then tracking through the career, it John Maxwell and Patrick Lencioni are definitely two authors that I gravitated toward their leadership. I couldn't read enough of their books. I mean, every one of them that would come out, I'd gobble it up as soon as it hit the shelf.
Yeah.
Uh, and so definitely those two and Jeb Blunt here more recently, Fanatical Prospecting. If you
Ooh.
haven't read Jeb Blunt, Blunt or Blount, I'm not sure. Blount is how you spell it.
Okay.
Man, I just went crazy after and I did that on Audible. I didn't read it. I listened to it. But
That's okay.
yeah, it,
The information was there in some way, shape, or form. I mean, a podcast is listening for the most part. So
so from a marketing standpoint, I've read a couple of his books, and just over the moon with him. I got the Ohana Way. I think somebody that I'm you know good friends with recommended that one. I haven't finished that one, but I actually met the author.
yes.
Yeah, on Zoom, but I met him. Virginia. You mentioned Virginia, and so
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
connected.
Well, that in Virginia is how I met Scott Conway, the author of the Ohana Way. And yeah, I did provide that book for you because you know, you and I have the opportunity to lead our BNI chapter this year, and I also shared the book with Abigail Parker, who is also part of our leadership team, because this is like Ohana Way is so important to me. I tattooed it on my body in a place that is visible. It's on my arm here because this is my reminder to always be working towards those. Am I perfect at it? Nope. But it's here as a reminder, like, am I being a safe place? All of those fun things. Oh, look, you printed it out.
And it's on my desk right on top.
Love it, right? The Ohana Way is fantastic. I that which is a good reminder. I need to get Scott on to talk about that from this on the podcast because it's a personal growth thing that works for business too.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really does. Oh my gosh. Well, this is good. I'm going to be looking up fanatical prospecting. I just typed it out in the chat so that way it's saved in posterity. So I can be like, wait, what was that book that Mark was telling me about? And I can find it. I'll know it's in the chat. So yeah, I'm going to be looking that up. I'm excited to see what that one's about. Because I do enjoy learning about marketing and all of those evolutions because a lot of marketing really is psychology and my background is in psychology. So before we wrap up, because I'm sure anybody who is still listening at this point probably is interested in getting to know you or at least reaching out to you and having a conversation. What's the best way for someone to connect with you if they would like to have a conversation?
I try to make myself as available as possible. So text, phone call, email, smoke signal,
If people know how to smoke signal or telegraph,
I
I would be so impressed with that.
yeah. So 618-414-5466 is best phone number. Mark at gatewaydigitalgroup.com is the best email. So
Perfect. And of course, my what you need to grow community here. You guys are probably already familiar that all of that information is in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right down below in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and directly click to call, text, or shoot Mark an email. And before we go, you have been kind enough to offer up some things in case somebody says, "Hey, I think I'd like to work with you, Mark." There's some you have an extra gift, a little bonus to sweeten the
well,
pot.
and I thought of a second one while we were talking.
Mhm.
So the first one, if for somebody that needs that sort of DIY help with the go high level, and regardless of whether it's email or it's a website, I'll do the first month for free.
Ooh.
That connects through the podcast here, I'll do the first month, for free as an introduction and get you going. And somebody that maybe wants a little more local reach out, connect with on the indoor digital billboards. I'll waive the setup fee, the initial
Ooh.
setup fee, and get them going on a big strong run within the network. That network, one thing I didn't talk about the number there, that network right now is reaching 1.2 million consumer impressions every month.
Wow. And that's just here in the Metro East, right? Because you have all of your indoor digital billboards in the Metro East of St. Louis. So for those of you who are listening, if you're in the Metro East of St. Louis and you're seeing indoor digital billboards, there's a really good chance it's probably one of Mark's. Because, I mean, 1.2 million impressions every month is huge. That's enormous. Congratulations on that. Because I know when you got started, you were like, I just installed my 100 and something, indoor digital billboard, and now I think you're up over 200, right? Or
Nah,
approaching?
I'm closing in on it, but I'm not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet. Okay, well, let's see what we
Two,
can do
yeah,
because
200 spread across the Metro East will be about that'll be the top number when I get there.
that's awesome. Well, let's see if we can help people do that because if they have traffic, this is a great way for them to monetize on that traffic and be able to leverage that as well for because their ads show up not only on the billboard that they have in their location, but in other locations as well. So helping to drive people back to this place where they were probably the first time they saw it. So that is amazing. So what we have, guys, is if you're interested in having a conversation with Mark and seeing what he can do to help you, it's either 1 month of free Go High Level service when you sign up with him for help with that CRM or website or whatever it is that you need help with digital marketing, or if you're local to the Metro East area of St. Louis and you would like to do a billboard ad, he's offering to waive the setup fee. So that's pretty amazing. So, Mark, thank you for being here and talking marketing. This has been so much fun. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Jenny. I enjoy seeing your smiling face every week, and now I get to get extra long on this Friday morning. So thanks.
Absolutely. And is there any last words you would like to share with the audience about their marketing, about business growth, personal growth? Anything that comes to mind for you?
Well, here at Gateway Digital Media Group, if we don't make sure that you're just online, we make sure you're out front.
Love that. That's fantastic. All right. And of course, What You Need to Grow crew, if you haven't already joined the What You Need to Grow podcast community on Facebook, please make sure you do that, because Mark and I are going to be getting together sometime in the near future, and we'll be putting a marketing training in there. So where he's going to dig into and show you some really cool things that you can do through your marketing and some options that you may have. So go join the community so you don't miss that. And then that way you can have direct conversations with Mark right there in the Facebook group as well. So, and make sure you also like, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, because that helps us get out to more people, because I want to help you guys grow. Can you help me grow too? Let's get that podcast in front of more entrepreneurs around the world. So thank you so much, What You Need to Grow crew. And of course, stay tuned, because you never know what you're going to need to grow.
Thank you for listening to What You Need to Grow. Be sure to follow the show on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Want updates straight to your inbox? Sign up at whatyouneedtogrow.com and you'll get notified each time a new episode goes live. Here's to your growth. This has been What You Need to Grow with Jennie Bellinger.